introduced, the limit was $10,000. So the money launderers were remitting 9,999 20 times, right? And so banks had to introduce computer programs to look at unusual activities, common addresses, going below the limits. If we were to introduce limits, they will just go below that so that it's not in the radar
No, I
screen.
understand that. The question is, you had an opening statement earlier. And if I remember correctly, because I took down some notes, you mentioned something to the effect that these funds did not go through Treasury, did not go through the head office. It went straight to the branch, Jupiter branch. And that the import of which is that the discretion now was with the branch manager.
I believe my statement, Your Honor,
Yes.
the funds went to a dollar account. In general, no? I'm sorry, I cannot speak about this specific transaction, right?
But I think you did in your opening statement earlier.
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But okay, in practice, procedurally,
Right.
something of this magnitude from the U.S., from this corresponding Wells Fargo, because this money came from an intermediary bank, Wells Fargo, New York, Bank of New York, Mellon, Wells Fargo, New York, Citibank. Okay? $81 million went to the Philippines. Does it go straight to would it go to an account in a branch, or will it go first to the head office?
Again,
Hypothetically.
yes, hypothetically,
Okay.
Your Honor, while you're sleeping, if you have a dollar account,
Okay.
money will go into your account.
Okay.
The bank has no right to debit your account. The bank can only freeze it if they have a court order. That's
Okay.
the reality, Your Honor.
Okay.
And we're given 10 days to submit an STR report. Even when you tag it
When you say STR, what does that mean?
a suspicious transaction report,
Okay.
right? So
You're given 10 days.
you apply human judgment, someone tags it STR,
Mm-hmm.
even that STR under regulations must be decided by a committee because you don't want to wrongly accuse a depositor, right?
Okay.
So that committee meets once a week, goes there, decides whether it's
That
STR.
committee is a committee in the branch?
It's a committee of the head office, Your
Okay.
Honor, and it's comprised normally of most of the business heads. They decide if it's STR. STR is now submitted.
Who are the business heads?
Can you?
May I answer that, Your
Yes, please,
Honor?
yes.
These would be the group heads. So
When you say group head, who are you referring to?
the head of the controller, for example, the
What does
head
he do? What does
he's like the CFO. Like
Okay,
the CFO.
got it. Okay.
The head of
So
the
for every account, the CFO is involved?
for the filing, for the determination if a suspicious transaction report should be filed.
Okay.
Your Honor, this is a board committee composed of the heads of each group of our bank. So the head of legal and regulatory affairs, that's
Okay.
me. I'm part of the group.
Okay.
Our compliance is part of the group.
Okay.
Our controller is part. The head of our retail banking group is part, and the head of our operations group is part.
Okay.
So it's a
So
very
they go to every
senior
branch.
group.
They go to every branch.
We review the transactions which the AML department initially determines to be potentially suspicious.
Okay.
We discuss, we look at all the records, and we determine if the suspicious transaction report should be filed.
Okay.
We do this every week, Your Honor.
Okay. And were there STR reports filed?
Your Honor, we are not allowed,
Not allowed
to discuss
it at
specifics
this
on
point
this.
in time. Okay. What is the procedure if, for example, there is a stop payment request from a foreign bank? Procedurally, what is the procedure for that?
Well, legally, Your Honor, the situation is the account holder where the amounts are credited is already legally the owner of the funds.
Correct.
So the branch, if once they're informed of the stop payment order, should issue a post no debit order. and determine what the basis of this stop payment order is. But we do not have,
And that order is submitted where?
it's determined internally, Your Honor. The post no debit order is advised to the entire branch so that they will not allow any withdrawals. This is a very temporary order.
Okay, so the head office tells the branch.
No, Your Honor.
Oh.
Theoretically or in
Theoretically,
procedure, if we receive a stop payment order, the settlements department will receive this and will email the same to the branch. And procedurally, the branch manager should make a post no debit order, which is within the branch. It's a temporary order and is just sufficient to allow the branch to determine if there is basis for this, to inform ourselves.
Okay. Was this procedure followed?
Nagpapatuloy pa rin ang pagdinig sa Senado sa umano'y money laundering sa mga kasino at bangko.
Magbabalik pa rin ang Balita Pilipinas ngayon.
Di ba?
Because
Bank of Bangladesh.
yes, Your Honor. We also
So-
have to follow some procedure, Your Honor. We have, as I've said, we have to the Secretariat conducted an initial investigation, and then we have to submit
Yeah.
our recommendation to the
Yeah, so
Council.
there's nothing Congress can do to hasten that process. Talagang mahirap yung trabaho ninyo and it takes time.
It's definitely difficult, Your Honor.
Okay. So there's nothing Congress can do as far as that is concerned. Were you in communication with the central bank governor?
After we received that call on February 11, Your Honor, on February 16, the Central Bank of Bangladesh sent 2 officials to our office, and they provided us with the pertinent documents regarding in relation to the transaction, Your Honor.
Okay. Has the FBI been in touch with the AMLA?
I was the one who requested assistance from the FBI, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. I would assume, just for the record, that it is also important for the committee to note, because how it would appear to me, it is possible that there was connivance between junket operators, possible people in the bank, possible remittance agents, forex traders, and possibly hackers. Because kung totoo yung nababasa natin sa dyaryo that there is hacking that took place, and based on what I hear or what I read in the papers, in China, the hacking began in China, which is not part of our investigation, but nevertheless, it is important to know the personalities involved. And it's possible that some Chinese personality who did the hacking, okay, with the Bank of Bangladesh, was able to hack the Bank of Bangladesh one way or the other, get the New York Fed, okay, where the accounts of the Bank of Bangladesh were, to remit money through intermediate banks in New York to the Philippines. And these accounts were opened a year earlier, March or May of 2015, may plano na. Maliwanag. Okay? And they must have known people from the banks. Kasi dumaan ng bangko lahat ito eh. Maliwanag, dumaan sa bangko to. That cannot be denied here. We all agree with that. It went through the banking system. Okay? Accounts were opened. Okay? And then there are possible junket operators who probably know these Chinese personalities. Who are these hackers? I think that's something important also for the committee to determine. Maybe later, that's why I think it's important to listen to the testimony of Mr. De Guito, also in executive session, kung nakilala niya, ito yung mga 4 na taon nagbukas ng account na to na hindi natin mahanap. And this person na Wei Kang Shu, apparently there must be immigration records, there are photographs, The money went to his account. Tingnan natin, pumasok sa 4 na account. Una, pumasok lahat sa RCBC. There are 4 accounts in RCBC. Dapat meron know your client rule. Okay? And then it found its way to a William Go account. Okay? And then it found its way to PhilRem. Then it found its way back to RCBC for the foreign exchange transaction. When did that happen, right? Okay, when did that happen? Amla, do you know when that happened? Kailan binalik ng PhilRem para ipalit yung pera sa piso? It went back to PhilRem. PhilRem deposited it in certain accounts and delivered in cash to kilala naman ni Miss Salud Bautista tong Wei Xiangshu na posibleng kilala yung mga hackers. Di ba? Are we investigating that as well? Or hindi na kasama sa investigation ng AMLA yan?
I think that's already beyond our mandate, Your Honor. But I understand that the Central Bank of Bangladesh has already requested assistance from the U.S. government to look into this and probably identify who the possible hackers are.
Correct.
And
I would assume that that would be the interest also of the FBI. Sino to mga hackers na to? How did they get to know these Filipino personalities and other Chinese personalities who used our banking system? It's also possible that our banks did not know that this money would come from hackers. Right? But one way or the other, there are certain personalities who know these persons. And I think that maybe later on, if we could find out who these people look like, what are their immigration records, if we can get a copy of the CCTV on that February 1, there was testimony here that sa tingin niya hindi kamukha ni William Go. But for the record, can you submit that to the committee? Diba?
We can do so, Your Honor.
Okay. So, all this information, so we can take a look. And then, if I'm not mistaken, is it correct, Ms. Abad, that there is an account in Hong Kong? May pumasok na $20 million in an account in Hong Kong, is that correct?
we haven't verified that, Your Honor, but we are seeking the assistance of our counterparts in Hong Kong to provide us information if there's any.
So you're not sure yet?
We're not yet sure, Your Honor.
But you have leads that there is an account in Hong Kong?
There are some information. Yes.
Di ba? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe later on we could ask other questions with regard to the other testimonies made also by the other individuals. Thank you.
Okay, at this point, let's digress a bit and go to the effects of what would happen if we were blacklisted by the FATF because of poor compliance with AMLA. May we call on Toots Ople, who represents the OFW. Could you please explain what's happening right now to the OFWs and what would be the effect on the OFWs if this blacklisting would happen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I explain that matter, point of concern lang po, because Ms. Bautista referred to the transaction as a remittance. And as you know, when you talk of remittance, you always use that in connection with our overseas workers. But just to put this in its proper context, I think what really happened is this is a wire transfer of money that is already here. Para lang po hindi madama yung ating mga OFWs. Kasi Ms. Bautista, it also came from you that your business also dealt with handling the hard-earned remittances in the truest sense of the word of our OFWs. But just to put that in its proper context. Kasi ang
Okay,
alam ko
okay.
ng OFWs...
The point is well taken, ma'am.
Yeah.
Please proceed.
Mahalaga
Please
lang po
proceed.
yun.
Time is running. Please
Yes.
proceed.
Yung sa amin po is that if this case is not resolved in a matter that is judicious and fair and transparent and fast, and if we land in the FATF's blacklist, it will mean higher cost of remittances and also a lesser value in foreign exchange in currency rates. I say this po kasi it's already happening. Even without this scam, there have already been 17 countries and territories wherein the bank accounts of local remittance companies, homegrown banks like DBP and iRemit and BPI and I think even RCBC have been closed down by the foreign banks there, forcing our OFWs to transact directly with the foreign banks at a higher cost. For example po, New Zealand. Sa New Zealand po, kinlose down nila yung mga local, yung mga bank accounts ng ating mga local remittance companies. Ang nangyari po, ito po, galing po ito sa OFW mismo. Sabi po niya, we're badly affected because from $3 to $5 remittance charges, which takes 24 hours, ngayon we have to send it through the local bank. But may mga requirements that the beneficiary must have a bank account with a SWIFT code and the charge is $18 to $24. And the receiving bank charge another $5. So ibig sabihin po nito, even prior to this scam, nagkakaproblema na po tayo with the closure of the bank accounts of local remittance agencies and the foreign banks are invoking AMLA. So ano pa kaya after this
When they're
scam?
invoking AMLA, what do you mean by that exactly? They're saying, we're closing the accounts because of AMLA. What? What do you mean exactly? Be specific, ma'am.
That the remittance companies and the banks here are not compliant with AMLA. Yun po yung sinasabi. And I just want to cite the countries that have been doing this po. Mabilis lang po. Hong Kong, Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Italy, New Zealand, USA, Singapore, Papua New Guinea, Brunei, Austria, Cyprus, Saipan, France, and then recently Ireland, Spain, and Germany. So we just want to flag this, and we are also calling on our BSP and the private sector and also the DFA, if they can reach out and explain the Philippine side din. Wag naman, ang nangyayari kasi lahat may mga abogado pero ang latay nito nasa OFW po at sa remittances ng OFWs.
Governor Spinilla, are you aware of this problem?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have monitored this. This is called de-risking by foreign banks. The issue here, Mr. Chairman, is that those banks operating under their own anti-money laundering laws are effectively making a business judgment that dealing with Philippine counterparties, money service businesses, poses risks to them that basically amounts to their conclusion that it's not worth the business. So what happens is they make a business decision to close down the account, and this is what Ms. Ople was describing.
So basically, they're saying, we won't do business with Philippine companies because they're too risky. But then, in your what makes them say that these Philippine companies are too risky?
Mr. Chairman, under their own money laundering laws, and this is a general principle, there is an obligation on the part of a bank to assess the risk of their counterparties. So they are making that judgment, and so situations like this do not help promote that judgment.
In other words, if we have several more of these incidents of this similar manner, then we can really see a closure of a lot of Philippine accounts, Philippine remittance account, Philippine company remittance and bank accounts abroad. And suma total, pahirap ng pahirap, yung OFW magpadala ng pera kung saan man sila papunta rito sa pamilya nila. Tama po ba?
That's a risk, Mr. Chairman, that we face if the perception is that our anti-money laundering regime is weak.
Okay.
I just wanted
Senator Recto?
I just wanted to put on record also, prior to this event, we are out of the blacklist. Is that correct? We are out of the blacklist.
That's correct.
We passed the relevant laws. Huh? And yet, even prior to this event, pinahihirapan na tayo. That is a fact. Okay? I think many of these big foreign banks are just charging. Pinahihirapan lang talaga. Yung lumabas yung pera sa kanilang bansa para pumasok dito sa atin. Even if it comes from overseas Filipino workers. We have to be mindful of this. Hindi lang dahil, hindi naman mahina yung anti-money laundering law natin eh. Prior to this situation, pumasaka tayo sa patap eh. Okay? I think we have to realize as well na pinagkikitaan din naman talaga ng foreign banks yung mga OFW natin dahil they are not a risk. Maliliit naman magpadala yan eh. Kung tutusin natin eh. Ha? So, eto, dapat tagapin din natin na pinahihirapan din tayo ng mga malalaking bansa at mga malalaking bangko na ibang bansa, pinahihirapan lang nila talaga. Napasa na natin yung mga relevant laws eh, to a certain degree.
One question, Mr. Chairman.
But I agree that we must close loopholes in our anti-money laundering law, especially in the light of the situation. And, you know, my concern also in the future is kung kaya ng mag-hack ang some personalities in China at maloko ang New York Federal Reserve, dapat pag-ingatan na natin yung mga bangko rin natin dito. I think that's something we should look into as well in the future.
Mr. Chair.
Kung kaya ba ng cybersecurity experts natin? So, with that, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Senator Enrile?
My question is this, do we have any idea who these hackers are? Are they residents of the country or foreigners? Second part of my question, and this is addressed to our banking people and especially the Central Bank and the Money Laundering Council, is what happened to Bangladesh possible to happen for this country? Is it possible that we'll also be hacked?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, answer point. Because the Bangladesh Central Bank is a central bank. In the case of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, we are alerted to these issues, Mr. Chairman, and the BSP has been taking measures to prevent situations, a hacking or an identity interception issue like this, Mr. Chairman. Speaking, that's for the BSP. And in addition, we have also issued regulation, that's Circular 808, that basically sets standards for our banks to have...
My question is it possible or probable that we can also be a victim of the same thing that happened in Bangladesh?
Mr. Chairman, I think all jurisdictions are at risk. Even jurisdictions like the United States are vulnerable to this. But we take measures to make this a low probability event, Mr. Chairman.
And what effort is being done by the central bank to find out the identities of these hackers, whether they are Filipinos or the hacking was done abroad or here?
I have no knowledge of that, Mr. Chairman.
You have none. You have not started any effort to find out.
Mr. Chairman, that's not a matter for the BSP, Mr. Chairman. With respect to this incident,
What jurisdiction in the government should do that? You're the one in charge of the entire banking system, isn't it?
Mr. Chairman, no Philippine bank was hacked.
What's your answer?
In the particular issue that we're discussing, Mr. Chairman, no Philippine bank was hacked or
Yes,
victim
correct.
of cybercrime.
No Philippine bank was hacked. In this case, the Bangladesh government was the one victimized. Is it possible that the Philippine government could also be victimized by these hackers? That's the point of my interest here.
Mr. Chairman, if we're talking possibility, my answer was all actually are vulnerable to cyber attack, but there are measures that can be taken to reduce this risk. So in the case of the Philippine Central Bank or Bangko Sentral, we have actually adopted measures to prevent these kinds of situations.
Now, let us assume that when we had amended the money laundering law in 2013, we included the casinos in its coverage. Could this incident be prevented?
I don't know, Mr. Chairman, whether because these are two different things: the hacking and then the
Oh,
law.
I'm asking this because Attorney Dook, no, was
Yes, sir.
telling us that my understanding of your presentation a while ago was that perhaps if we were more strict in strengthening the AMLA, this could have been prevented.
Your Honor, I think had we put in place an effective law, like
what do you mean
including
by-
casino as a covered
Wait a
entity.
minute, what do you mean by effective law?
Well,
What are the things that you want to introduce in the AMLA law that are not there to make it effective?
well, as Your Honor, as discussed even by the legislators, and this I heard also from the interviews of those who took part in the enactment of the amendment, we could have added casino as covered entities already.
That's why I said if we followed your suggestion that we cover casinos,
Had we done that, Your
how
Honor,
could this have been prevented?
we could have deterred the criminal elements from exploiting the deficiency in our laws.
For heaven's sake, Mr. Attorney Dook, we don't even know who are the hackers. We do not even know who are these people who open these accounts. And Mr. William Go is here. He was yours. His name was yours. He has not done anything to find out why his name, of all the Filipinos and all the residents of this country, he was picked out as the person whose name was going to be used. for the purposes of these hackers here in this case? How could have we prevented it? That's my question to you.
Yes, sir.
Because you're throwing blames here, you know, and I beg to differ with you.
I beg your indulgence, sir, but I'm not putting blame on anyone. The hackers may be nameless. They may be anonymous at this point. But what they do know is that we have deficiencies in our law.
So
Among the various jurisdictions, were the ones where the payment instructions were successfully executed.
So my question, I will go back to my question. If we included casinos in the 2013 amendment, would this incident, could have this incident been prevented?
It may help, but we have to understand that the funds, the monies were coursed through the bank. No, eventually it was transferred to the casinos. No,
It started with the bank. It went to the bank. Before it went to the casinos, it should have been reported already. You're in charge of this, no? So how come that we were not able to stop it in the level of the banks?
Sir, I am the commissioner of insurance. I'm an ex officio of the AMLC.
Oh,
the council.
you're the one presenting the position of your organization here.
It's only because, sir, the chairman is out of the country on official business, and I'm the remaining regular member of the council.
Precisely, I'm asking you because you're representing your organization. If you were not able to stop it in the level of the banking system, how do you expect it to be prevented in the level of the casinos?
I think we have to approach it globally, no? The point of entry and the point where the money was eventually
What is the point
laundered.
what is the point of entry?
In this particular case, it's the banks.
Okay.
But then they were laundered through the casinos.
Well, but
So we have to approach
if your
it, sir.
if the level of the banks was effective enough, and I think it has been effective for a long, long time. Nothing has happened yet except of my own knowledge, except this one. Then no one would have been victimized. I'm not defending the casinos, huh? I hope the government will run after the people involved. No, I'm just zeroing my question on your statement a while ago that we must have a more effective money laundering law by including everybody. How would you do it if you were crafting the law?
In all modesty, I have to look at it from a global perspective. The bank is just one sector.
How I do not understand your global perspective. What is that?
We
The
have
entire
to
system
approach it from all sectors. The banking sector, the insurance sector, the security sector, and the casinos, the gaming industry. We should put in place all deterrent so that money laundering will not succeed in our jurisdiction.
I hope you will craft the legislation so that we will be educated.
Mr. Chairman, just a question. Is there a
Senator Recto.
casino in Sri Lanka? Yes. No, Sri Lanka. Does anyone here know if there is a casino in Sri Lanka as well? The reason why I ask this, Mr. Chairman, is from what I read in the reports, there was potentially $1 billion heist. Hindi lang 81 million, hindi lang $100 million eh. Meron 850 hindi natuloy. And apparently that money was gonna go to Sri Lanka. Lahat yan bank to bank. Just like here, the 81 million found its way to a bank. Meron din yung 850 supposed to be bank to bank din yun sa Sri Lanka. Now, I have an open mind as far as the casinos are concerned. In fact, in the Senate version, we did have a provision in the casinos, which was taken out in the bicameral conference committee. But just to educate the public as well, the original bill also had a provision on real estate. And we agreed on a threshold. If I'm not mistaken, 20 or 25 million. Because in the original bill, there was a 500,000 threshold. So I don't think that people launder in low-cost housing. So I think we should craft it based on something more appropriate. Hindi 500,000 lahat eh. Low-cost housing, 500,000 lahat eh. If I recall the debates. Since we're talking about recommendations here on legislation, di ba? Pagka real estate, it's so easy to say, isama natin real estate, isama ang casino, isama natin lahat. Jewelry. Art. Pero halimbawa, low-cost housing, yan ba tataas ang cost din? There's sobrang regulation, so much compliance. May maglo-launder ba ng pera sa low-cost housing? And that's why when we debated here, we agreed, if I'm not mistaken, 25 million sa real estate. Pag jewelry, something like 2 million or something. Kasi kung masyado mababa, lahat naman ng bibili ng jewelry, pupunta ng Hong Kong, walang reporting doon. So, I suggest that the AMLAC take a look at the transcript, read the transcripts, so that when you come here and make recommendation also, you can answer some of the questions being raised. But yes, we did include casinos in the last amendments. No? And I think we should have everyone should have an open mind. No? Moving forward. But
Mr. Chairman, may I offer an
Yes,
answer
ma'am.
to
Yes,
the
ma'am.
question
Ms.
of the
Abad, go
Honorable
ahead.
Senator Enrile? Senator Enrile was asking whether had we included the casino sector in the coverage of the AMLA when the law was amended in 2013, could this have been prevented? That was his question, I understand. And my answer to that is probably the probability could have been reduced if casino sector is already included in the coverage of the law. Why? As earlier described by the senators, there was probably a grand design in this case. Bank accounts were opened as early as May 2015, and probably the intention is to use these bank accounts to put the stolen money and then do further transactions. But it would appear that the ultimate destination of all this money is the casinos. Knowing for a fact that casinos not within the coverage of the law, no covered institutions or casino operators would be reporting the transactions of the casino players to the AMLAC. They know that they can do away with this without being detected by the law enforcement authorities or even by the Financial Intelligence Unit, which is the AMLAC. So, to be sure, the non-inclusion of the casino sector from the coverage of the AMLA increased the probability of laundering dirty money in this country through the casinos. So it would have been a lot better if the casino sector has been included in the coverage of the AMLA when it was amended in 2013. And it was also mentioned by the Honorable Senator Recto that the Philippines was already removed from the FATF list. Yes, that is true. In June 2013, the Philippines was removed from the FATF list because we were able to amend the law. We were able to provide for an ex parte application for bank inquiry and as well as an ex parte petition for freeze order. And we were able to expand the definition of money laundering. We were also able to increase the number of predicate crimes to money laundering. From 14, we now have 34 predicate crimes to money laundering, and this is all in accordance with the international standards. However, when the Philippines was removed from the FATF list in June 2013, the statement issued by the FATF, as far as the Philippines is concerned, is that yes, we welcome all the progress in your anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism regime. However, the Philippines is strongly urged to address the remaining deficiency, which is the non-inclusion of the casino sector from the coverage of the law. That is why even if the Philippines has been removed from the FATF list in 2013, we are still being monitored by the FATF, by the international community, as far as the non-inclusion of casino sector is concerned. That is why immediately after we were removed from the FATF list in 2014, we proposed again for the amendment of the law precisely to include the casino sector in the coverage of the law. And this case is a concrete example, Your Honors, that indeed casinos are vulnerable to money laundering.
I just want to tell you that I provided the proviso in the amendment of this law in 2013. But when it went to the bicameral conference committee, I understand it was the House. I do not know what happened. The chairman is here. He was the one who rejected my original proposal. But
No, we accepted your proposal, and then when we had the BICAM, the congressional contingent opposed the casinos inclusion.
members of the Liberal Party. Anyway, I will ask this question to Mr. William Go. Mr. Go, your name was used in this money laundering incident. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to file any action against the people who use your name?
Of course, Your Honor. My lawyer already studying the issue and the case.
Still studying? Why not file it tomorrow?
We're waiting for the NBI result. We investigate. We asked the NBI to investigate already. So, inintay namin resulta ng NBI. File kami ng case as soon as possible.
Sige.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, one last question, with the permission of the chair.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Ms. Salud Bautista, you said that you know Wei Kang Shu. Is that correct? You've met him personally.
Sorry. Yes.
Verbal response, please. Verbal response, yes?
Your Honor, our business is remitting funds. So we have a sender and a beneficiary. Our client is the sender, and the beneficiary is who they say where we are supposed to deliver the funds.
Yes. So you know Wei Shang Shu. You met him personally.
He is the beneficiary of the sender.
Correct. So you know her. You know him. You've met him.
Yes.
Yeah, how many times have you met him?
Once.
Only once.
Yes, Your Honor.
Not several times.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you know Kim Wong?
I see him in social occasions.
So you know what he looks like, and have you met him personally?
I think he was introduced to me once or twice. Long
Okay.
time.
Have you ever dealt with him?
No, I never did business. I have no.
He was never a beneficiary.
No.
Was he ever a sender?
No, sir.
No. Okay. And who was the sender when you met Wei Xiangshu? So he was a beneficiary. There must be a sender.
Yes, I got all my instructions from the branch manager, and she claims that the sender is William Go.
Okay. Miss Duquito, do you know Wei Xiangshu? Kilala ko ba ninyo?
No, Your Honor.
So never mo nakilala?
No.
So wala kang letratong pinakita kay Miss Salud Bautista kung sino si Wei Xiangshu?
Wala po, Your Honor.
So how did you know that that was Wei Xiangshu? Miss Salud, are you reading from a cue card prepared by the lawyer? Yes.
No, Your Honor. They gave us a cell phone number, and they asked us to call the
$18 million cash, cell phone number, and you met him, he answered the phone. This is
Yes,
him.
and I took a picture of his ID.
Okay. Could you give us a picture of that ID?
Yes, Your Honor.
Submit to the committee.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Duguito, did you give her a cell phone number?
Wala po, Your Honor.
You don't have the cell phone number of Wei Xiangshu. You've never met Wei Xiangshu. Were you the sender as mentioned by Miss Salud Bautista?
No.
You never gave her instructions to see a Mr. Wei Xiangshu.
Yeah, there were instructions, sir, but I am ready to disclose everything in the executive session.
Executive session. There were instructions from you or from someone else?
Sa executive session na lang po.
Okay, okay. Anyone from RCBC? Mr. Lorenzo Tan, it's an opportunity for you. Do you know Wei Xiangshu?
I have no idea. Your
No
Honor.
idea. Mr. Kim Wong?
I know of him. I mean, he was a restaurant owner in my PNB days, and I've known him since 2002.
So you know Kim Wong?
Well, social acquaintance.
Social. Have you ever dealt business with him?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Salud, do you know of Jerome Tan?
Yes, Your Honor. He used to be the president of RCBC Securities.
Okay. Mr. Lorenzo Tan, do you know a certain Jerome Tan?
Yes, Your Honor. He was our head of RCBC Securities. He passed away already.
He passed away already. Okay. At the appropriate time, Mr. Chairman, I will ask questions regarding this personality. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Senator Pimentel?
Just a few questions, Mr. Chairman, to be continued in the next meeting if we run out of time, because Senator Angara will also ask questions. To Ms. Salud Bautista, your company, PhilRem, remitted to Eastern Hawaiian Leisure Company.
Yes, Your
Amount, $21 million. Can you tell us what you know of this company? What information or data did you have before you executed the instruction from the sender to send money to Eastern Hawaii Leisure Company? Is this a foreign company, a local company? What is it?
We were instructed to remit funds to the company's account.
Account with what bank?
Account of PNB.
PNB, okay. So, may I ask Ms. Abad of the Executive Director of AMLAC, you applied for a freeze order for 7 principal account holders. Tama po ba yan? 7?
There were 8, Your Honor.
8? So can you give us the 8 names, please? Michael Francisco Cruz, tama po ba yan?
Yes, Your Honor. Let me just refer to my notes, Your Honor.
Yes, Jesse Christopher Lagrosas, Alfred Santos Vergara, Enrico Chodoro Vasquez, William Sogo, Century Text Trading, and Kam Sin Wong. And who is the 8th principal account holder, ma'am?
Eastern Hawaii Insurance. Eastern Hawaii. Sorry. Anong hindi niya nabanggit? Anong hindi niya nabanggit? 2, 3. Let me just enumerate them, Your Honor. The account holders subject of the petition for freeze order were Michael Francisco Cruz, Jesse Christopher Lagrosas, Alfredo Santos Vergara, Enrico Chidoro Vasquez, William So Go, Century Tex Trading, and Cam Sin Wong, Your Honor.
Okay, so 7.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tama, okay, so 7. Okay. Oo nga, 7 na nga. So it's not 8, it's 7. Okay.
Stand corrected,
Yes, that's it.
corrected, Your Honor.
And you did not include PhilRem or the owners of PhilRem, meaning to say you did not consider PhilRem as part of the scheme or a suspect in the money laundering scheme. Tama po ba yan?
PhilRem accounts were not included, well, without prejudice to the final outcome of our investigation, Your Honor. They were not included in the petition for freeze order because at first we thought that although we were able to see that these transactions passed through PhilRem accounts, but then we all thought that we thought that these were just regular transactions made by PhilRem as a remittance company, Your Honor.
Money laundering requires a predicate crime because the amount must be proceeds of an unlawful activity. From your point of view, what is the unlawful activity consisting or as the predicate crime in this particular instance?
In this case, Your Honor, the facts would show that violation of the Electronic Commerce Act was committed, or what we call hacking, Your Honor.
Which is the Electronic Commerce Act of another country.
Yes, the predicate crime was committed in another country, Your Honor.
Right, and we allow that. We recognize since it is punishable under our law and it is punishable in the other jurisdiction, then that is an unlawful activity. Tama po ba yan?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And under our law, there is already money laundering if we transact using the proceeds. Tama po ba?
That is correct, Your Honor.
When it was converted into dollars or given to a remittance, isn't that a transaction? Was the money laundering, theoretically lang was the money laundering already consummated?
Well, one of the elements of money laundering, Your Honor, is knowledge. Knowledge that the money being transacted came from an unlawful activity. In this case, Your Honor, as I've said, without prejudice to the final outcome of our investigation, we thought that probably PhilRem did not know that the money came from stolen funds.
So if PhilRem knew, then they would be included in the list. Tama po ba?
So that even if PhilRem transacted without money, if they didn't know that the money was stolen, then they could not be held responsible for money laundering, Your Honor.
That's correct. But if they knew, then the other way around. Tama po ba?
If they knew, that would be a different case, Your
And
Honor.
so with RCBC, if they knew when it was, how much amount of dollars did you ask the RCBC to convert? $60+ million. Ganun po ba, ma'am, the Executive Director, about
That is correct, Your
if
Honor.
RCBC also knew that these were proceeds of unlawful activity, then money laundering would have been consummated?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so from your point of view, you never suspected PhilRem. You never asked for the freeze order. But from the point of view of RCBC, they suspected the PhilRem's participation because they froze the account of Ms. Salud Bautista.
Probably there were other facts or circumstances that would make RCBC believe that PhilRem had knowledge that the money came from stolen funds, Your Honor.
Your accounts with RCBC, Ms. Bautista, were frozen after this incident na. That's correct, no? After February 10? Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor. Our accounts was closed March 1 and turned into manager's checks and then was not released to us.
So maybe I'll just ask RCBC if they care to, if they would answer, but did you freeze Ms. Salud Bautista's accounts and other related accounts because you suspect her or her corporation or specifically PhilRem to be part of this syndicate which perpetrated this money laundering scheme?
Your Honor, we may speak theoretically unless Ms. Salud Bautista gives her written consent to us, allowing us to speak of her accounts, in which case we would be happy to do so here, Your Honor. But without the written consent from her, and believe me when we say we are willing to discuss under those circumstances, theoretically, our bank, under our deposit opening forms, is allowed to close accounts, which we believe were involved with fraud, for example, or if we are not satisfied with how the accounts were handled. The bank has that power under the deposit opening forms, which the account holder signs. And in cases where we receive a freeze order, and again, this is theoretical, we request the AMLC, if certain names are not included in the freeze order, but which we believe may be related, we ask them for assistance. And this is something that we do as a matter of policy and procedure.
No, but that's why Ms. Salud Bautista was complaining earlier or a while ago that you froze her account even though she was not enumerated in the
Yes.
freeze order. That's why, yun na nga. So, meron kayo yatang alam, mas may alam pa kayo kaysa sa AMLAC. Kung ganon, kasi hindi nga sila sinama sa freeze order, and yet ang RCBC freeze eh. It's not even the account of PhilRem, it's the account of maybe the owners of PhilRem.
Mr. Senator, if since Ms. Bautista discussed it in this hearing, if she would be so gracious as to give written consent to all the accounts, we would be free to discuss it.
How about a verbal consent at this particular time?
Your Honor, I believe the law is very clear that it's written consent that's required. If in the next hearing she is able to provide,
We can give you the
Your Honor, we will
transcript
discuss.
later on. That's the written
Your
consent.
Honor, please
No,
don't
let's-
visit me in jail if
Mr.
that's the
Chairman.
case. Mahirap na, Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
let us ask Ms.
Yeah.
Bautista now, are you willing to give that written consent for RCBC to discuss your...
We can discuss all the accounts if she gives her written consent for all those accounts. Because that is what the law provides.
Your Honor, do you think we can take this up in the next hearing?
Okay, if it's good enough. Anyway, you're the one who's been. You're the one who's saying that you've been. What do you call this? Damaged by this, and okay, up to next hearing. If you want to bring your written consent, then do so.
May I proceed, Mr. Chairman? Do you have a representative from Bloomberry Hotels, Inc., which is Soler? As Attorney Benitan, yes. Do you confirm the remittance of $29 million to your account from PhilRem?
Actually, it came in pesos, Your Honor,
Pesos
not
na?
dollars, yes.
And what was that for?
It was remittance for the account of a junket operator and the players that was tagged with him, Your Honor.
And that is the same, Wei Kang Zhu?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay, so at least we have established that there is really a Wei Kang Zhu operating as a licensed junket operator. When we say licensed, then he has a contract, or his company has a contract with Soler.
He's registered, Your Honor.
Registered, okay. Okay, so $29 million. So the purpose was why, so that you did not find anything suspicious about the remittance because it was for a junket operator.
Yes, Your Honor, and it was Chinese New Year, etc. So the expectation was more play during that period, so it was not unusual.
So you have a copy of your contract with this junket operator. You have, of course, other information about him. You have, of course.
Well, we keep records, Your Honor.
Yeah, because you have contracts, right? A casino will have a contract with a junket operator. Tama po ba yan?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Can you provide this committee with a copy of Soler's contract with Wei Kang Zhu?
Well, I'll have to go back to management, Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
discuss this.
Apo, so then tell us your answer.
Yes, sir.
And if you cannot, tell us the legal basis why you cannot.
Understood.
Apo. Sige, si Mr. William Sogo, before I turn over the mic to Senator Angara. Mr. William Go.
Yes, sir.
Sabi nyo, kayo'y nasama rito sa insidenteng ito na hindi nyo alam. Sino po rito dito sa mga may na-freeze na bank accounts, sino rito ang kilala ninyo? Michael Francisco Cruz, Jesse Christopher M. Lagrosas, Alfred Santos Vergara, Enrico Teodoro Vasquez, Cam Sin Wong. Sino po doon?
Yung kamsi mo lang kilala ko po.
Okay. Kung idagdag ko rito ang pangalan nila Lorenzo Tan at saka ni Miss Santos Diquito, sino pang kilala mo ron?
Si Miss Diquito, kilala ko po.
So kung magsususpetsa ka, sinong nagsali sa iyo rito sa gulong ito?
Si Maya Diquito po.
Okay, si Kim Sin Wong, kilala mo dahil sa
Matagal na acquaintance na po yun, social acquaintance.
social lang.
Opo.
Si Miss Diquito, kilala mo dahil sa
Mayroon ko dating account po sa East West Bank na siya manager dati po. Sa may Fort Bonifacio.
Okay, paglipat niya sa RCBC, hindi ka sumunod doon.
Hindi na po. Hindi na kaming nakikita.
So, pero close kayo nung kliyente ka pa niya sa other bank.
Hindi po close yung client and management na yung procedure na yung pang trabaho lang.
So, ang gusto mo bang sabihin sa amin, malas lang talaga na ikaw ang naalala niya?
Yun na hindi ko malaman. Hindi rin maintindihan po eh.
Sa lahat ng tao. Okay. Okay lang ba siya lumipat daw from East West to RCBC? Kailan po?
Hindi ko rin po alam eh. Somewhere
Hindi mo alam.
2013 yata, something like that.
Okay, pero anyway po, meron kayong mga pronouncements yung abogado ninyo na binabasa ko rin na merong nakakalito rin na party doon Bakit kayo humihingi ng parang pang-danyos daw?
Ay, hindi po totoo yun. Kasi po, ang storya dyan, yung si Miss Diquito, nung paalis na, may pumalit na bagong manager, bank manager. Ang pangalan po ay Alan Pinalosa. Ngayon, inendorse ako sa kanya. So, I'm doing banking transaction with yung Pinalosa na wala na si Miss Diquito. One day, biglang tumawag sa akin si Alan Pinalosa. Tapos sinabi sa akin sir, pwede ka bang makipag-meet sa akin sa Fort Bonifacio? That's somewhere between, let me see the date. That is February 22. Tumawag sa akin ng umaga. Tapos sabi po sa akin, kung pwedeng mag-meet kami after lunch sa Bonifacio High Street. Sabi ko, tungkol saan yan? Hindi, meron lang kakausap sa'yo. Gusto makipag-usap sa'yo. Tapos, tungkol saan yan? Hindi, basta makipagkito sa'yo. Tapos, pag nakita kami, doon nakita kami sa Bonifacio High Street, ang unang paso sa akin, gusto mo kumita 200 million. Yan sabi sa akin. Sabi ko, ano ba yan? Ano ba yan sinasabi mo? Sabi sa akin, hindi. Si Maya, alam mo naman si Maya. Oo, kilala. Dati sa East West. Nasa RCBC na. May nagawa yata kasalanan. Sabi sa akin, anong kasalanan? Ayaw mo siya na mag-usap sa'yo. Siya na magsabi. Tapos sabi ko, saan siya? Makita tayo sa napunta kami sa Serendra, doon sa Mary Grace Restaurant. Tapos habang sabi ko kay Alan Pinalosa, sige, tawagan mo si Miss Maya, para pangkausap ko anong ginawa. Di ba? In mga few, up to 30 or 1 hour, dumating ko si Miss Diquito. Pagkaupo, sabi sa akin, Sir, sorry may nagawa ko kasalanan sa iyo. Ako, ano yun? Sabi niya. Nabuksan ko kayo ng account sa RCBC. Nagulat ako. Nabuksan daw niya ako sa RCBC. Sabi mo bang ginawa yun? Wala naman akong transaction siya, wala naman akong binibigay, wala akong inimututos na magbukas ng account. Paano mo nabuksan yan? Yun ang sinabi ko. At tapos sabi sa akin, Sir, talagang sorry nagawa ko yun. Ba't ka nandito? Kasi nagka-problema na. Yun sinasabi. Ano problema nun? Kasi yung malaking amount ng pera pumasok sa account nyo. Nasyak ako. Nasyak po ako. Anong ginawa nyo? Kunento yung buong scheme. Yung meron daw pera sa Bangladesh, pumunta raw sa apan account na ginawa daw niya. Pagkatapos po, binusan daw niya ang dollar account, doon daw pinasok niya. Yun ang kwento. Tapos, pinalito sa PIRREM, sa RCBC, binalik ulit peso. Hindi ko na maintindihan. Ang gulong, talaga yung explanation niya, talagang magulo eh. Oh, ang sabi ko sa kanya, wala akong pakialam dyan, ang demand ko, i-clear my name. Ako, i-clear mo yan. Maski anong mangyari, i-clear po ninyo. Ngayon, sabi siya, sir, meron naman tulungan niyo ako, meron mo naman ako pang damage, bibigyan ako damage, 10 million. Ang dami siya sabi mo. Ay, maski na anong sa perwisyo ginawa mo sa akin, talagang perwisyo ginawa mo sa akin, maski na anong damage, it's not worth na bayaran ako. Maski na ilang daang million pa yan, hindi worth sa perwisyo ginawa niya sa akin. After that, I just forget about it. Wala nangyari. So, ang sinabi, I insist na clear yung pangalan ko as soon as possible. Yun ang nangyari.
At any rate, sir, $81 million yung pumasok. $81 million din naman yung na-remit sa tatlong mga entities at hindi ka naman talaga kasama doon. So, ibig sabihin, hindi ka kumita sa gulong ito, sa scheme na ito.
Walang alam dyan sa lahat na nangyari.
So, lahat ng pumasok na pera are all accounted for. Alam natin kung kanino pumunta at wala rin naman pumunta sa'yo or naiwan para sa'yo. So, isang argumento yan na hindi ka nga kasama talaga sa scheme na ito.
Wala po talaga ako kasama, hindi ko pala alam ginagawa niya.
Pero meron pala kayong personal knowledge kasi nagharapan pala kayo ni Miss Diquito eh. So, naggumawa na ba kayo ng ano dyan, ng sinumpaang salaysay?
Meron na po. Meron na po.
Okay, so that would be all for now, Mr. Chairman.
Just a quick follow-up on that lang with the permission.
Before that, just one administrative matter. Yung mga nagbigay ng opening ng statements, nagbasa, please kindly submit to the Secretariat so for the record. Yes, Senator Recto, yes?
Just very quickly. Ms. Duquito, you were with East West Bank until what year?
2013.
So you're relatively new to RCBC.
Yes,
When did
Your
you
Honor.
enter RCBC? Kailan kayo pumasok na RCBC?
October 2013, Your Honor.
Only. Huh?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and who recruited you to RCBC?
Mr. Lorenzo Tan.
So you know each other?
Yes, I know him.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Angara?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon po. Mr. Chair, in connection with the questioning of Senator Coco Pimentel.
May I be given permission to...
Excuse me.
Yeah, please.
With the indulgence of senators.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Tan, I see you want to react. Sige, please.
Yes. There's no truth that I recruited her. We are a professional organization, right? We receive 50 to 100 resumes a year. We pass the resume to the business heads. The business heads interview them. They're vetted by an HR department. The HR department checks their records. They check their clearance from previous banks. They look at their ability to bring business. I don't get involved with who gets hired at the branch level. Branch managers are 5 layers below me, right? And I didn't know her before that, right? So that's not true, Your Honor.
Ms. Diquito? Mr. Tan is denying this.
Sa executive session na lang po, Your Honor.
Okay. Senator Angara?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In connection with the questioning of Senator Pimentel, maybe the committee, we suggest that they invite the so-called Alan Peñalosa as well from East West Bank so he can corroborate what Mr. Go, or he can even clear his name if necessary.
Mr. Go, this Alan Peñalosa is connected with?
East West Bank po sa Fort Bonifacio. Branch manager.
Branch manager.
East West Bank.
I think we have a representative of East West here.
The president is here.
Oh, sir, could you produce him at the next hearing?
Yes, we could invite
He's your branch manager of that?
He's succeeded Maya in the Burgess Circle in Port Bonifacio.
Yes, could you produce him here next hearing?
Just again, Your Honor, if
Yes.
I may.
Okay.
No, I just want to give the perspective to this. Of course, I know Maya. We worked together in iBank, but in East West, I think Maya stayed for 2 years. She joined 2011, joined late 2011 to 2013, so about a little less than 2 years. So just to set, because before, I think she stays longer in RCBC. Mr. Chairman, I'm still wondering why I'm here. Just for chat ko na. Really? With this hearing? Because East West has got nothing to do with the transaction in any way. Not a single centavo, not a single peso. And we look at it, there's no unblameable, if you will, called unblameable offense. So I'm just curious.
Unblameable. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Senator Angara.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can I ask the AMLAC through Director Abad, na-trace na ho ba yung kung saan napunta yung pera? Assuming, did we bother to check dito sa yung sinabanggit na junket operator? Kasi I guess yun ang talagang importante dito, di ba? Ma-trace talaga natin, number one, kung illegal yung pera, at pangalawa, saan pumunta yung pera? Na-trace na ho ba natin?
Well, Your Honor, our money trail ended there at the casinos, Your Honor.
So talagang doon natapos, dead end tayo doon sa casinos. But shouldn't we have checked with the individuals who are just like the so-called junket operator, si Mr. Wei Kang Su? Hindi ba dapat chinek din natin ho siya?
Precisely, that's the problem, Your Honor, since the casino operators are not under the coverage of the AMLA, we cannot require them to submit information pertaining to this casino operator, to these junket operators, or even to casino players, Your Honor.
Pero ngayon ho, now
if
that
they are covered under the AMLA, then probably we can require them to submit information pertaining to this casino players, Your Honor, or to this, even to this junket operators, Your Honor.
Pero ito nga, may testimonya na ho tayo na nakatanggap ho si Wei Kang ng $30 million. That's 1.5 billion pesos ho. Wala ba tayong kilos dyan? Hindi ba tayo kikilos dyan?
What we heard, Your Honor, is that this Mr. Wei Kang Su is playing in the casino, but we cannot just go there to casino and ask these questions, or probably we will need the assistance of other law enforcement to...
But can we not freeze his accounts? Can we not apply to freeze his accounts or investigate his accounts in other banks?
As the evidence will show, Your Honor, the money was delivered to him in cash.
Opo.
So we were not able to identify any bank account in his name.
Pero you've already made inquiries, and to this day you have not identified any bank accounts
We
in
have
his
not
name.
identified any bank account in his name, Your Honor.
Okay. Ganun lang, banks lang bang kakausapin nyo? Walang ibang, you do not have jurisdiction dun sa mga, like, people like PhilRem and pawn shops, things like that? Wala ba kayong inquiries to other economic actors kung saan napunta yung pera? Hindi lang naman bangko napupunta ang pera, di ba?
Well, we can request information to any covered institution, Your Honor.
Have you done that? With respect to Mr. Wei Kang Su?
But with respect to Mr. Wei Kang Su, I think the only, or even with respect to any person, the only possible institutions to keep money is the bank. So, but based on our information and database, there's no bank account in the name of Mr. Wei Kang Su.
Pero hindi ba dapat magtanong din tayo sa mga forex changers, for example, foreign exchange dealers? May tumaan ba ditong pera, ganito? Because isn't that a way of washing the money? Isn't that a way of laundering the money? Hindi ba dapat tayo, we pursue the money trail?
Well, honestly, we haven't done that, Your Honor. But since we have already information from PhilRem, which is a remittance company, that the money was delivered to Wei Kang Su in cash. So that's
Hindi ho ba dapat, maybe I suggest, Mr. Chair, that we should take action on the 1.5 million and pursue the possible leads, Mr. Chair. Kasi may testimony ho tayo na nag-deliver ho ng 1.5 billion pesos cash to Mr. Wei Kang Su. Should we not know where that money went? And maybe we can direct the question also to Bloomberry and to Pagcor. Saan ho ba, do we have any ideas saan ho napunta yung pera? Maybe we can ask Chairman again, Mr. Chair, and then after we'll ask si Attorney Tan.
Good afternoon,
Mr. Chairman, Your Honors. What we know kasi is the one that was remitted to the accounts, no? And basically, I just would like it to make clear that we are very open to be part of, to be covered under AMLA. So, kumbaga sinabi na namin sa Congress na willing kami talaga maging part ng AMLA, to be covered by AMLA. Now, up to the best of our knowledge, we'll be answering everything because right now we're not covered by AMLA, we're not covered by any secrecy law. So, open kami sa lahat ng questions. So, with regards to the amount remitted, dun sa Bloomberry, lahat po to na monitor na nilaro. Lahat po to na monitor na naging dead chips, na non-cashable chips. So, nilaro talaga po to sa casino. Now, with
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chair. When you say lahat na ito, you're saying you monitored $81 million worth of dead chips?
Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, ang alam lang po namin pumasok is that $29 million. This was remitted to, pero hinulaan lang po namin yan kasi we're only basing yung mga based on newspaper reports. So we started moving only after we read the inquiry report sometime February 29. So right after that, we already issued a letter to everybody to give their comments with regards to these things, and they gave their comments, that and everything is in its proper, So our team really inspected kung nilaro nga itong mga peran to. So we just conclude that there was money that went through field remit to, I think, to BDO, this amount and that amount. So doon lang po kami nag-base. And plus, we rely on the bank as the gatekeepers in terms of money coming in that is remitted to the casino. So talagang yung kwan namin, since we know that it came from the bank, we presume that all money is clean. Because syempre hindi na natin pinagdudahan yan dahil nanggaling po sa bangko. Anyway, yun po, so undergoing pa rin po ang investigation namin rito. And with regards to the statement of FIREM that there was cash given to a certain Chinese person, I have no idea about that, and we have no idea kung nilaro man to because cash to eh. So I have no idea about this. Ang naging focus namin is the amount that was, I think we read in the newspaper. Yun lang po. So, hanggang doon lang po kami.
Hindi nyo po kilala si Wei Kangsu?
Hindi po.
Hindi. How about sa Bloomberry? I think you testified that kilala nyo, no? Si Wei Kangsu.
Yes, Your
Based
Honor.
on the questions of Senator Pimentel.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor. As I explained before, we have no knowledge of the cash transaction. So what we had was that remittance from Phil Remit for the account of the junket.
Sabi nyo, pumasok ko ng pesos, no? Ang testimony ko kasi niya is nagpadala sila ng $29 million based on the question of Senator Recto.
That's correct.
Tapos sinabi nyo na peso ang tinanggap ninyo.
We receive in peso.
Magkano po yung peso amount? What is the exact amount?
1,365 million.
1,365 million. Okay. Would you know offhand what the exchange rate was used?
No, You're not.
I will just work backwards. Okay. Thank you. Namo-monitor niyo si Mr.